All right, welcome back, my friends. I'm so glad to be here with Amanda Alcorn. Good morning, Amanda, to you.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
I
What a
am,
beautiful morning.
I know, I'm so glad. Amanda and I were connected, and I'm so glad to bring her message onto Hippie Moms. You guys, she is a mother of seven, so we are talking to an expert here and an author of a couple books. And so we're just going to get right into it. Amanda, give me a little bit of your background so that the listeners can kind of know who you are. Give us your story in a nutshell.
Yeah, so I am currently living in Hawaii and I have not been here that long. I was doing what I call the mom grind in the Midwest.
Mm,
I have seven children and I had a few of them, a few of them were competitive gymnasts. I have a soccer player, so we do homeschool, but life was very, very busy for us.
mm,
And beginning at about 3:30, when everybody kind of starts their grind into activities, we were doing the same thing. And at first, when they were younger, that felt fun and it was exciting to watch them discover new things. And, everybody thinks that they have the next Olympic star. So, so, yeah, we were just really busy, really, really busy and traveling the country and going to the Olympic Training Center. And it came to a point where I was in Colorado with one of the boys at the Olympic Training Center, and it was the first time I didn't have a baby with me, and I got lost almost literally on the hiking trails, and I had this big epiphany. What had happened to me? Where had I gone these last 15 years?
mm,
I love to be outside. I'm an athlete by birth. But what had happened to me? And that was a really a big moment where in that moment, I wanted more. I just wanted it all. I wanted to have a deeper spiritual connection in my life, although I didn't know what that looked like. I wanted to live somewhere that provided my family this connection to nature and outdoors. And I
mm,
called my husband from Colorado and I said, "We've got to go." And he was like, "What?" We hadn't really been there that long either. But the end story is he was not receptive right away to moving. But in that meantime, I really did some deep spiritual work. I had, as the universe does, it puts people on your path, in your way to guide you in the right direction. And that is exactly what happened for me. So in the midst of feeling life had so much to offer me and my family, I just became so deeply spiritual and truly everything unfolded in divine timing and is that exactly the way it's supposed to be. So
mm.
you can fast forward to now, and I am truly living the dream on the island of Oahu. I don't want to be anywhere else. So that is the beginning for me and how I got where I am. And I'm happy to say that I have left the mom grind behind. We do what we want when we want, what feels good. We're all usually in the ocean together, day in, day out. That's what we do. We all surf. Um, so yeah,
Wow.
life couldn't be better, and I'm here to show women how to do it. It isn't specific to me. It isn't. I'm not lucky.
Yeah.
It truly was a manifestation of just the most beautiful magic. So,
That's awesome. I feel that in my heart, Amanda. So I want to kind of go back. Like you talked about the mom grind, right? Because that I feel so many people can relate to.
mhm,
We just automatically show up one day in our lives as a mother. We're doing all the things that we're told to do, we're supposed to do, and we get exhausted by it. And so, what for you the mom grind. It was the busy, I could also sense like a feeling of just unrest, right? Inside. I could feel that there was like the turmoil and the just like exhaustion. Is that what you were moving through like before you had your epiphany in Colorado? Like what did that look like?
Yeah, it was really what I feel like most moms are living today.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, when women are pregnant, we kind of wrap them in these stories about how hard birth is going to be. And then we tell
Mhm.
them they're not going to get any sleep. And then we say, oh, welcome to the terrible twos and welcome to the terrible threes and wait until you have teenagers. And it's really, I mean, it's so true, right? And it's a
Yeah.
narrative. It is a narrative
Mm.
that we have allowed ourselves to take on, right?
Yes.
Motherhood is means joyless. Motherhood means I'm going to do everything for everybody else but myself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to move my body naturally. I'm not going to love how I look. I'm not going to have time to put good food in it because I'm too busy taking care of everybody else. And
Mm.
so for me, I was very firm when my children were young that I loved my children so deeply, and this was our life together that I couldn't really fathom putting them on a
Mhm.
bus and not seeing them all day. And
Yeah.
I stayed true to that. I mean, I stayed really true in just my love for them, but what I was missing, which is what a lot of moms are missing today, is what I call capacity. So, capacity allows us to mother in a way that is responsive and
Mm.
not snappy. It allows us to take a breath. It
Mm.
allows us to indulge in self care as permission to be selfless for our family.
Mhm.
And so really, I guess to backtrack a little bit and to answer your question is my children were home. I don't know that I had a completely developed capacity for that. Um, and also towards the end of the day was just that grind. So it was, the activities like everybody is doing. I would drop off at 4 o'clock, run home, make dinner for the seven other people, go pick them up at 9 o'clock, try to put babies to bed beforehand. It just felt really hard, and I didn't love, and it wasn't even just about me. I didn't love how I felt, but I didn't love that my little girls were having to wait for me to put them to bed. It really seemed to affect everybody, and I didn't like the way that felt.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel that so much. And just to reflect a little bit about what you said, because I really think this is important. You really talked about the culture and the stories and the narratives. And I think there's two big things that we're working with in motherhood. One is that story, that narrative. It's hard, and we believe it and we're manifesting that. The other thing is we don't mother in community anymore. We're doing it
Mm.
all by ourselves, which is the most unnatural way to raise human beings. And I think that that's really challenging when we don't have the support and it's all on the mom. And then, if I'm going to bring one more thing in, we don't believe we're enough as a mom. We think we need to do more, be more, create more. We're never enough. We always live with this quiet restlessness inside that what we're doing, we're literally raising the next generation, but it's not enough. And it's like these elements, and God, I really feel this, what we're speaking, because these are all the things I've learned and I believed. And not only that, we are shown by our own mothers, right? That to be quick to respond or to snap, like that was just how it was. And so, what I really feel, Amanda, is that our generations of mothers, we had to have the experience, right, of that, the rush, the disconnection. And then we have this opportunity to create connection. And that's really what we're here to talk about is how do we create that connection with ourselves and back into living the life. And what's so beautiful is you've actually manifested that. And so as you went from this place of the busy mother just running around, you're like a chicken with its head cut off, what were some of the main things that brought you to where you are now? What were those understandings? And obviously there's the guidance from the universe, there's those beautiful things. So kind of tell me, like, how did you walk yourself into living the life that you live now?
I think one of the most important things that mothers need to understand about themselves isn't first and foremost that she is worthy. She is worthy of the most beautiful things, and there is no realistic in my life. I don't believe it. I believe in the most unrealistic life because at this point I'm proof in living that. So when I came here, when I finally arrived in Hawaii, it was kind of funny. I just want to kind of mention this because I know you'll appreciate it. I was here about 20 years ago, and I was here with my parents, and I remember sitting down at a restaurant and saying I wanted to move here, and my parents saying, "Oh no, it's so expensive here. You can't, that's just a ridiculous idea." And when I got off that plane, when I moved here and I got off that plane, I felt the biggest welcoming. I mean, such a welcoming that it feels emotional. Like I truly felt her say, "You're home.
Oh,
You're home."
oh, I love it.
Um,
The chills.
yeah. So it's fun. What's interesting in the manifestation is that when I told my husband we needed to go, that place was Colorado for me. I mean, my sister had just moved here to Hawaii, but oh my goodness, Hawaii, I couldn't possibly bring myself to Hawaii. So I I put it, I put out there Colorado, Colorado, and he was so resistant. I mean, it was months upon months upon months before anything even started to turn. And what happened in that frustration is, in meditation and sitting outside, I truly almost physically grabbed this image of Colorado with my hands and I put it out into the sky. And I said, I don't know better than you.
Mm.
Maybe I'm not supposed to go to Colorado. Maybe you have somewhere for me, and I don't know where that is, but I trust you.
Mm.
And I promise you, it was about a week and a half later when my husband called me and said, "What do you think about moving to Hawaii?" And I was like, holy crap.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yes, 1,000 times. And it was a really long process before we knew, in this formality of a job that we were coming. I mean, it was not immediate. It was a few more months and it was like, the resume and then the interview and the knowing. And so anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track. But
No, it's great.
um when I came to Hawaii, it was a very conscious decision to leave the grind behind.
Yeah.
So, and that felt really hard because at that point I had teenagers that had worked so hard to be these amazing athletes that they were, a lot of my own time, a lot of my own money, but we stayed, my husband in 100% alignment with me. We just felt like we needed to stay true to what felt good for our family.
Mm.
And gymnastics at the time, and still, gymnastics is kind of going nowhere. I mean, it's slowly getting pulled from NCAA programs, which is, what we were really holding on to for them.
Mhm.
And so when we left that behind, I mean, we truly entered freedom. We came to this island to be free, to live on island time, and we did that in all completeness.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
There's an element here that I think is so important to bring forth, and that is your prayer. And it wasn't a prayer of, I want this. It was like, show me. And I feel like there was a surrender in you. You're like, I
oh,
don't
for sure.
know. I don't know. And I think that's where we as mothers, we're so in our heads. I mean, who isn't, right? Unless you
Sure.
are practicing, right, meditation and you're doing these practices to bring you home. But in the world, we are always in our heads. And there comes a point in life where I think we get so exhausted by the grind, and the grind isn't always out here, right? The grind's in here, in our head. We're so caught up in so many things, it could be watching the news, on our phone, social media, watching TV all the time, listening to people's opinions and stories. We can't find our own space. And I really feel like two things that you said. One thing, when you were in Colorado and you got lost, that was nothing but space for you in those moments. You had nothing to grab onto or numb yourself with. You couldn't go shop for something on Amazon or whatever we do there. You were faced with really yourself, and I think that's where so many of us, where we struggle because we won't sit with ourselves. We don't even know what we want because we just listen to what the world tells us what we want. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I have two things. Hopefully, I remember what the second thing is I want to say. But the first thing is what I call keeping up with the Joneses.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we are programmed as mothers, as families, and I'll even rewind a little bit, right? When women earned their right to go to work, what we didn't think about what was going to happen to our children.
Yeah. We did it.
So
Mm-mm.
I had this dramatic kind of like families are broken.
Yeah.
In my opinion, families are truly broken, and they're
Yeah.
broken because the mom who was the caretaker has left her children behind, and
Hmm.
now we have children of the youngest age being dropped off at daycares and pushed into preschool and school and school and school
Hmm.
earlier
Yeah.
than they ever have been before. So their childhood is getting cut extremely short. It
Yeah.
is the only time these humans have to be irresponsible, to be
Yeah.
in pure, authentic, wild
Mm.
joy.
Mm.
And we're taking that from them,
Yeah.
because women are leaving for work. The unfortunate reality is that now, because of the economy and, what people are getting paid, is that women do need to go to work to sustain, and children are still getting left behind. Um, and now, again, rewinding into this keeping up with the Joneses, is women go to work, children go to
Mhm.
school,
Yeah.
then children go to activities, women run them all over the place until 9 o'clock at night. And it's
Yeah.
very much a competitive, you know, um, like my child takes advanced placement AP classes. My
Yeah.
child takes what is it? The new one is like college credit plus, which
Yeah. I don't know.
absolutely drives me crazy because again, that's just a narrative.
Yeah.
Like for me and my children, there is nothing. Like people ask them what grades they're in and they all look at me
Like
like
what? And
what?
then what's a grade? Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
so I think that keeping up attitude is really something that families and mothers are battling. And then
Yeah.
the second thing is like for me, I am I am thriving when I am taking care of myself.
Hmm.
And that taking care of myself is really something that I do all day long
Yeah.
because I begin my day with an emotional, spiritual grounding, which allows me to feel how I feel. What kind of mood am I in? What do I maybe need to pay attention to a little bit better today to give my best self to my family?
Yeah.
Making time for exercise, which again, mentally grounds me. being very aware of the food I put in my body because I know that sugary, yucky foods kind of put me in a funk.
Mm-hmm.
And so these acts are selfless acts. They
Mm-hmm.
are not selfish acts.
Mm,
And women need this permission
yeah.
to take care of themselves because it has a very guilty narrative around it.
Yes. Oh, it does. It's so interesting. So here, the feminist movement came. We leave our families, right? And now we ship our kids off to basically be brainwashed. And listen, mamas, listen.
I'm with
I
you.
get if you're like your shame and guilt is coming up. Listen, I understand that. Just know that this is not our fault. This is not our fault. We have the only quote unquote fault we may have is that we believe the BS that is being fed to us, right? That's the only
Mm.
thing. We just believe it because we haven't thought outside the box. And this is what this conversation is about, thinking outside the box. And I really think in order to get those wheels turning and that momentum is the second thing you said, we have to care for ourselves. And I cannot agree with you more, Amanda. I remember when I lost it on my children, and it was the most horrible and yet the most beautiful and profound experience because I got to see where I was empty. And I knew at that moment that I had to care for myself mentally, emotionally, physically. But the also thing is, if that causes more stress in your life, right? There's something off balance. Everything's causing you stress. So there's a lot of, even just taking one step at a time. Like you said, waking up in the morning, taking some deep breaths, like being with yourself. How do I feel today? What's present for me? Getting sunshine in your face, drinking a big glass of water. It doesn't have to be these profound 1 hour meditations you're levitating on the top of the mountain. That's not what we're talking about. It's talking about really simple acts of self-love. And I think it also goes back to what we were talking about earlier. There's this underground belief we're not worthy to care for ourselves. And what's
Mm.
happening, and this is where I think it shatters Earth, is we are teaching our children that they're not worthy to be taken care of. We are modeling the behavior that our children are going to be. And so once I understood that, it was like, no, 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 we've got it all messed up and all backwards. And that's what we're kind of turning the whole world around on its heels, Amanda. We really are, and saying that we can choose not to listen to these narratives. We can choose ourselves, which is actually selfless instead of selfish, right? So I feel that so much. I resonate so much with what you're sharing.
Yeah, I think so the embodied mother is what I offer. And in that offering, the very beginning of that is creating stillness for yourself. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, and it's so simple. I mean, don't get me wrong, the work, it is work. It is taking responsibility. It is being able to say, I don't, this isn't what I thought it would be.
Hmm.
I want to change it. I think
Yeah.
that's a really hard question to ask yourself. Are you living joyfully?
Yeah.
Do you wake up every day and get to go do what you love?
Hmm.
Because if that isn't your story,
Yeah.
in my opinion, you're shortchanging yourself. You're not living the life you were meant to live here.
Yeah.
It's all about like looking outside of the matrix and you know canceling out all the noise as to what we're told we have to get up and do every day, right?
Yeah.
Set your alarm clock, go to a job you
Hmm.
don't love, come
Right.
home, grind your kids away and do it on repeat all the time. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like why why our society is so like big everything fun happens on weekends because it's like no one's around to do it any other days of the week.
Yeah.
Um, so really back to the embodied mother is
Yeah.
creating that stillness for yourself, that grounding and connection.
Oh,
Included with that and the embodied mother is so expansive in what I share. It's very hard to share it all vocally.
Right.
But there is a piece where you do immerse yourself back into nature. You are consciously taking the time to put your feet on the dirt.
Yeah.
There's another component of it which says, what is social media doing for you? What is it offering your life right now? I don't have social media,
Mm-mm.
zero, zip. I write
Yeah.
on Substack, which I absolutely love
Love Substack.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, me too. I mean, because people, it's just, it's not a show pony. It's not,
Yeah.
it's just me being able to be really authentic in my truth, and you like me, you like me, you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
um but yeah, that whole social media thing is just like another thing, and there again, there's so much to unpack, there's so much to talk about
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. No, I have to say I still have some presence on social media, but I don't post, I don't scroll. I when I kind of started Hippie Moms, it was in the midst of my kids were young and I was just discovering, right, food and toxins in food and in a clean and da 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 da. And so as I was discovering this, I was sharing with a lot of mothers. They were sharing with me. It was beautiful. But I was literally on the phone 6, 7 hours a day, posting, scrolling, and it was
mm.
and I share this one story, and I love the story so much. So if my listeners have heard it, hear it anew. I go to my kid. I'm scrolling on my phone or doing something on my phone. I don't even know what I was doing. And and my son, my youngest, comes up to me. He's 4, and he's like, "Mama," and I said, "Hold on, I'm doing something." And he puts his hand in front of my phone. He goes, "Mama, I'm more important than your phone." And I was like, "Oh, damn. Yes, you are, baby." And that was just kind of my awakening. It was like, what the hell am I doing? And you know what I was doing? I was trying to get people's approval, validation. I needed their likes. And if I didn't get something they liked, it's like it was became my whole identity. I would spend hours spinning my phone trying to find the perfect pictures. It was ridiculous. I was like, in one moment, everything flashed before my eyes, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I have never been happier. Not on social media, not looking at the news. What news? I don't even know what you're talking about. No, it's like what we seriously bring our consciousness, where we put our focus grows in our lives. What are we growing? And so, what I feel you're growing, Amanda, as the embodied mother, is you're truly bringing in these important fundamentals to be a mother, but it's like to mother from your soul, not from this like robotic way that we've been conditioned.
The embodied mother is about feeling through motherhood, right?
Mm,
Embodied. So
yes.
it's feeling through motherhood. And, what I want to say about the embodied mother is that, first of all, it took me a very long time and uh, another very intense spiritual journey to be brought to it. And when I came full circle that this is what I was supposed to do, I have to say, I was really shocked. I just couldn't believe it kind of reared its head again. I had been asked so much over the last 18 years, how do you do it? What do you do? How do you take care of yourself like that? And I always tried to communicate how I did it. And I had various websites and blogs over the years, but I felt so unheard that I would just kind of, women don't care, give up, move on.
Yeah.
And then when I went through another journey, funny is I I truly thought I have this very deep connection with plants, and I thought my soul was going to bring me full circle with these plants, which it did in a way. But the big picture was show women how, show women how. And after I created it, I was like, this is for everybody. This isn't
Yeah.
really just for mothers. But here's what I have to say about that is mothers, it has to begin with the mothers. So
Yeah.
maybe one day I already have these ideas. I'll create maybe the embodied human or the embodied, just
Yeah.
something to include men and make it more inclusive. But I felt very strongly as a mother of seven that it needed to begin with the mother because the
Mm,
mother is the backbone, the queen, the matriarch, the powerhouse. She really is the one who does all, and we were all put here to be mothers to, generate life and make sure, ensure the continuation of humanity. And
mm,
so, even though I begin with mothers, the intention here is to mother will infuse little boys and little girls, right? we're
mm.
not we're not keeping it isolated to female.
Right.
Mother will infuse her little boys, her little girls, who will grow up to be consciously aware fathers and men,
Mm,
consciously aware women and mothers, who will then infuse their children, and it continues and continues and continues. And for me, this project is not about mothers, it is truly about humanity
yeah.
and shifting this vibration of humanity. And then we have people who care, and we have people who take care of the earth, and they don't want to spray her and they don't want to litter
Yeah.
her. And so this project for me has been truly the most amazing gift. And it is a hard one to put out, especially in 2026 without social media. Beautiful people like you are my catalysts in this work. And I am
Mm.
so, so intensely grateful for you.
Oh.
But this is big work. This is, it's starting small, but the vision that I have is making people care,
Yeah.
is, guiding them to care about the earth. And I do a lot of volunteer work. I do a lot of trash pickup. And I don't do it for any other reason because I strive to love her in reciprocity,
Love
the
that.
way that she loves me. And
Yeah.
I truly just pray, like, let me love you. Let me love
Oh.
you in the way that you love me by infusing, your light into this world.
Mm,
And my children are beautiful examples of tending to her and loving her. And there is so much gratitude and joy in my life. I mean, I just wish it was something that I could snap my fingers and let every woman, mother, person on this earth feel.
it's beautiful, Amanda. I feel that with you, for you, through you. And you know, being an embodied mother, I think if it comes down to something very simple, is being present with what is. Really just being in our bodies. Um, and there comes a very deep sense of trust with being embodied. And that's everyone has their own journey with that because a lot of us come from the backgrounds and childhoods that we weren't able to trust. And
Mm.
so it's little baby steps. I love the baby steps because I think as moms, we just feel so overwhelmed. We want to be where you are. We want to feel that connection, and I really feel through you, the embodied mother, it's really about you giving your wisdom, you bringing your hand back to those that are on the same path, and maybe you're ahead. It's not really about being ahead or behind, but we're just on a different plane, and we hold each other's hands and we walk together in this earth. And this is what I feel the embodied mother is your gift for motherhood, but truly inspired by the divine feminine, by the earth mother that is here to say, help my children. And that's what you're doing, and you're a way shower. And I'm so grateful that we got to be connected. And I want to know, how do women find the embodied mother? And it's a small book, it's a PDF form. Tell me a little bit more about that so that they can get their hands on
Yeah, great. So my website is called Wild Uhane, which is wild and then Uhane. So wilduhane.com is my website.
Okay.
And on there, you will find all about the embodied mother. And
Okay.
then, yeah, you can just put it in your cart. It is delivered to you as a PDF.
Cool.
To be a little bit more clear on it, there are six journeys, so to speak. So again, they all build upon each other, beginning with the spiritual emotional. So you will see it's very simple. It's just 5 minutes of creating a boundary around yourself and sitting still.
Love that.
And that can take you a month if it needs to.
Yeah.
There is no timeline. There is no one to say you need to move faster or you're not doing it right. And then once you begin that, you're in it. You
Yeah.
will always continue to make that grounding a part of your routine. And then that will cultivate an awareness and a consciousness in your everyday. And then you will bring that to your family and your children. And what kind of life are you wanting to build for yourself? Do
Mm.
you love what you do for work? Do you need to work? What does that look like? Do your children go to school? What does that look like? It will move into conscious living since that is also a very big piece is keeping our bodies pure and away
Mhm.
from toxins. And then it will finish with a physical piece, which is learning how to move naturally feels good for you. I'm not asking anybody to step into a gym, lift a weight, do anything that doesn't
Yeah.
feel good to them. Same thing with the food. And then the last piece will be truly taking and immersing yourself in a position of joy.
Mm.
And joy for me is when I bring my children and my nieces and nephews to the park, I get in on their game of chase.
I love that.
When my girls are outside on the skateboard, I get on the skateboard. We go to the ocean, we surf a lot. We go to the beach, and when we're not surfing, sometimes we'll just be a little bit more relaxed and bodyboard. And woo, you see me flying down a wave, and it is truly joy. So again, the embodied mother is much more. It is easier to understand and to convey these messages in the PDF itself. I
Hmm.
don't want anyone, it's again, there's so much to talk about that everything you need to know is in the embodied mother. And I am also so honored to be in communication, in guidance with
Cool.
anyone that feels like they need that.
Awesome.
Truly, it's where my heart is. So,
Oh, it's
yeah, the
beautiful.
women, the women who are feeling called to do it are the ones that most likely are, right? And it's planting seeds here because I
Yeah.
think again, this is a very intense message and one that may feel a little bit of resistance. So, yeah, this has
Yeah.
been beautiful.
Yes, it has, Amanda. Thank you so much. I really feel that you are so in such a divine place to bring this gift to women. And not only through the embodied mother, but through holding space, whatever that looks like. So I'm going to make sure that in the show notes, they're going to have the link to the embodied mother and also to your website and to know exactly how to find you. And yeah, it's just such an honor. I just started doing interviews again. I took some time off for the summer and it just like this couldn't be like it couldn't be better than having this conversation started off. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That is so sweet. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. It is truly a breath of fresh air to, be in communication with someone like you. And
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome, and you're welcome back anytime. So, my friends, thank you for being with us. Thank you just for taking this journey with us. And And I just want to say, if any of this conversation does bring up a little resistance, that's okay. That's not who you are. The true you is already free. The true you is already whole. And so any of that resistance is just that part of you that's like, I don't want it. Just be open to it. And we're not asking anything of you, but just take those steps. And if you are being called to download the Embodied Mother to get it on, I will make sure that's on. Like I said, it's in the show notes and you can connect with Amanda again. All right. Thank you again, Amanda. Thank you to our beautiful guests. And we'll catch everyone on the next Hippie Moms podcast. Thank you. Bye.